When people talk about generational wealth in the Black community, the conversation often jumps straight to what was denied: redlining, segregation, wage gaps, and discrimination. And all of that is real. But what's talked about far less is this. Even with barriers, many African American families in the 1960s practiced powerful budgeting and wealth-building strategies that laid foundations still standing today. It was not called financial literacy, and they did not have access to Wall Street. There was discipline, structure, and long-term vision. Let us uncover how African Americans budgeted in the 1960s and how those habits helped build generational wealth against the odds. In order to understand the budgeting strategies, we need to understand the environment. In the 1960s, African Americans faced legal segregation, especially early in the decade, redlining and housing discrimination, limited access to the banks, lower wages for the same work, job exclusion from many industries. Many Black Americans worked in manufacturing, domestic service, agriculture, construction, public sector jobs, and Black-owned businesses. Budgeting wasn't optional and money was tight. One of the most consistent budgeting habits in Black households was intentional money assignment. Income was divided carefully, often immediately after payday. The housing was first, then utilities, and food next, then followed by transportation, church, and community savings. No matter how small, many families practiced what we now call zero-based budgeting, long before the term existed. If money wasn't assigned, it was easily lost, and loss wasn't an option. Credit was often predatory when available. Access to it was limited. So African American families learned to delay purchases until they could be paid in full, live in cash, and avoid consumer debt. Layaway plans were common: furniture, clothing, and appliances. If you couldn't afford it outright, you waited. This reduced interest payments and prevented debt traps that destroyed financial progress. For many families, the church wasn't just spiritual, it was financial infrastructure. The church provided emergency assistance and informal loan, jobs, and community accountability. Budgeting often included regular tithing and mutual aid contributions. These systems helped families survive financial shocks without turning to high-interest lenders. In many cases, churches also helped families purchase homes, start businesses, and pay tuition. This was community-based wealth protection. Homeownership carried deep meaning. It wasn't about luxury, it was about safety, stability, and independence. Despite redlining, many African American families bought homes in Black neighborhoods, purchased modest properties, and took in boarders to help pay mortgages, paid extra toward principal whenever possible. Owning a home meant fixed housing costs and an asset to pass down protection from discriminatory landlords. For many families, the house became the largest source of generational wealth. Being frugal was a skill passed down, not a trend. Common practices included cooking nearly every meal at home and gardening for food, sewing and repairing clothes. Children were taught early, we don't waste, we take care of what we have. Needs come before wants. This mindset stretched limited income and allowed small surpluses to accumulate. African American families understood that ownership was protection. Many budgets included saving to start small businesses, supporting Black-owned stores, using family labor to reduce costs. Common businesses included barbershops and beauty salons, restaurants, food services, auto repair, tailoring, insurance, and funeral services. Children worked in these businesses learning money handling, customer service, responsibility, and an ownership mindset. This passed down financial knowledge, not just money. Education was seen as a path to stability, even when access was unequal. Families budgeted for school supplies and college savings when possible. Parents supported children through trades or HBCU. Parents often sacrificed new clothing, personal comfort, so the next generation could earn more, save more, and own more. Education was strategic budgeting, not blind hope. The tools have changed, but the principles haven't. From the 1960s, we learned budget intentionally. Avoid unnecessary debt, prioritize ownership, and use community as strength. Generational wealth doesn't always look like millions. Sometimes it looks like a paid-off home, no debt and financial skills passed down. A safety net for the next generation. This is wealth. African Americans in the 1960s didn't wait for perfect conditions. They planned, they sacrificed, and their quiet financial discipline created legacies we're still uncovering today. If this video helped you see history differently, like, subscribe, and share it. Because understanding how wealth was built, even under pressure, helps us build it again.